Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a show where we'll provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's take a look at the headlines first. India begins legal action against Hafiz Saeed, 5 other Pakistanis for in absentia trial in 2611 case. ISI-backed Shahzad Bhatti network busted ahead of Independence Day, over 200 operatives detained. It shouldn't be used to legitimize terrorists. India pushes for reforms. India has sent a fresh and unequivocal message on terrorism. New Delhi will take whatever action is required to defeat the terror threat. The statement from the Ministry of External Affairs comes as Mumbai police moves to begin a trial in absentia against 6 Pakistan-based terror accused in the 2611 Mumbai terror attacks case, including Lashkar-e-Taiba founder Hafiz Saeed. The move puts the spotlight back on Pakistan's failure to bring the masterminds to one of the deadliest terror attacks on Indian soil to justice. Our special report.
16 years after 2611, India is still pursuing the men accused of masterminding the attack. Mumbai police has initiated proceedings for a trial in absentia against 6 Pakistan-based accused in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. The accused include Pak-based Lashkar-e-Taiba founder Hafiz Saeed, Zaki-ur-Rahman Lakhwi, Sajid Mir and several other Pakistan-based terrorists. For India, the case represents a larger problem. Terror masterminds and handlers accused of targeting India continuing to remain beyond the reach of Indian courts. The 2611 attacks exposed the scale of the Pakistan-based terror infrastructure targeting India. 10 Lashkar-e-Taiba terrorists attacked multiple locations across Mumbai, including CST, the Taj Mahal Palace, Oberoi Trident and Nariman House. More than 160 people were killed and hundreds injured. The lone surviving terrorist Ajmal Amir Kasab was captured alive, providing investigators with crucial evidence about the conspiracy and its Pakistan-based links. But while the attackers caught in India faced justice, several alleged masterminds and facilitators remained beyond India's reach.
Pakistan government did not prosecute these 6 terrorists. Therefore, we had no option but to proceed against such 6 terrorists in view of our new law, and accordingly I applied to the Mumbai court, and my police commissioner of Mumbai, Mr. Deven Bhatti, has sent me a request letter to take necessary steps against the 6 terrorists, and accordingly I filed an application. Mumbai court has issued a proclamation. The matter is now fixed on 21st.
And 2611 is the only one part of the larger terror trail. Pulwama in 2019, a suicide bombing targeting a CRPF convoy killed 40 personnel, with the attack claimed by Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed. Uri in 2016, a terror attack on an Indian army camp killed 19 soldiers, followed by India's surgical strikes on terror launch pads across the line of control. And in Pahalgam in 2025, 26 civilians were killed in a terror attack that once again put the spotlight on Pakistan-based terror networks and their support infrastructure. The pattern India has repeatedly argued is clear. Terror groups based across the border, handlers and facilitators operating from Pakistan, and attempts to strike deep inside India.
As we know, the Mumbai attack was planned by people sitting in Pakistan, and I think it is significant that we must proceed against those people also. Of course, those who came here, they met their fate, but those who are actually, even worse than the actual terrorist, because it is their brainchild, and they are the planners, instigators, they are the people who plan such Mumbai-like attacks. I think unless they are punished, we will not be doing justice to the people who lost their lives.
India's response has also evolved. After major attacks, New Delhi has increasingly targeted the terror infrastructure behind the violence, launch pads, financing networks, recruitment modules, weapons channels and handlers. Following the Pahalgam attack, India launched Operation Sindoor in May 2025, striking terror infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The operation was presented by New Delhi as a response to the terror attack and as a message that those directing attacks against India would also face consequences. And the latest developments show that India is pursuing the threat on another front through its courts and security agencies.
On terrorism matters, these are very serious things. We take it very seriously. We want the global community to understand the gravity of such actions. India has been hit hard by terrorism. We have, over the last several years, taken a lot of effort to galvanize global action, strengthen global action to fight terrorism, including cross-border terrorism, and our fight to deal with terrorism will continue further. And whatever action is required to be taken on that account to defeat the scourge of terrorism, that we will continue to take.
For India, 26/11 is no longer simply a case from 2008. It is part of a longer history of attacks that New Delhi says have been enabled by Pakistan-based terror organizations and cross-border support networks. Now, with the trial in absentia against the 26/11 accused, India is attempting to ensure that distance from Indian territory does not become immunity from accountability. And the MEA's message is unmistakable: India will take whatever action is required to defeat terrorism.
A major blow to Pakistan-backed terrorism in India. Security agencies have dismantled the Shahzad Bhatti network, an ISI-backed terror syndicate, in a massive coordinated crackdown across 14 states. 253 operatives have been detained, more than 200 arrests made, and over 80 FIRs registered. The operation came just ahead of Independence Day, foiling what authorities describe as plans for subversive attacks. And the recoveries exposed the Pakistan connection: IEDs, Pakistan-marked grenades, pistols, ammunition, and surveillance equipment. A report.
253 detained, 200 plus arrested, 80 plus FIRs, 14 states. A massive nationwide crackdown and a major setback for Pakistan's terror machinery operating against India. Indian security agencies have dismantled the Shahzad Bhatti network, described by the Home Ministry as a Pakistan-based ISI-backed terror syndicate. The coordinated operation was carried out on August 12, just days before Independence Day. Using real-time intelligence sharing between central agencies and state police, security forces moved simultaneously against the network. The largest number of detentions came from Uttar Pradesh, 62, followed by Haryana, 52, Delhi, 51, and Punjab, 44. The operation demonstrates India's growing ability to identify and dismantle terror networks before they can execute attacks. And the biggest evidence of the network's Pakistan connection came from the recoveries. IEDs, pistols, live ammunition, and grenades carrying Pakistan Ordnance Factory markings. Investigators also recovered CCTV cameras allegedly meant for espionage and reconnaissance. The Home Ministry says these recoveries established the network's direct cross-border links. The message from Indian agencies is clear. Pakistan-based handlers may operate from across the border, but their networks inside India are being systematically hunted down.
Acting upon an input about the Pakistan-based Shahzad Bhatti network, cementing their places in various parts of India and in Assam. STF Assam developed the input and executed an operation last night in 3 districts of Assam, that is Dhubri, Chirang and Borpeta, and apprehended 3 members of Shahzad Bhatti network, namely Akramul Islam, Aminur Rahman and Abul Hussein, and seized mobile phones and incriminating documents from their possession.
The Assam operation shows the geographical spread of the network. But the Bhatti syndicate had already been under the scanner of India's premier anti-terror agency. The NIA has linked Shahzad Bhatti to multiple terror attacks in northern India. In April, the agency charge-sheeted Bhatti as an absconder. And in June, the NIA conducted searches at 18 locations across Punjab and Haryana in 3 cases linked to the Pakistan-based terrorist. The cases include the March 2025 grenade attack at Jalandhar, the November 2025 explosion at the Women's Police Station in Sirsa, and the January 2026 blast at Baldev Nagar Police Station in Ambala. In the Sirsa case, the NIA has filed a charge sheet against 9 accused, including Pakistani nationals Shahzad Bhatti and Sohail Ahmed, identifying them as Pakistan-based handlers. According to the NIA investigation, the accused were recruited and radicalized through social media and encrypted communication channels before being directed to target police establishment. The investigation established a chain running from Pakistan-based handlers to Indian operatives on the ground. This is the model Indian agencies are now dismantling: Pakistan-based handlers, local criminal networks, illegal weapons and terror attacks. And the weapons trail extends beyond conventional terror modules. In Chandigarh, police have busted an international and interstate illegal arms network. Investigators say weapons were being supplied by a Pakistani arms supplier through drones across the border.
चंडीगढ़ पुलिस के ऑपरेशन सेल ने एक इंटरनेशनल और इंटरस्टेट गैंगस्टर और इलीगल वेपन्स के सप्लाई करने वाले गिरोह का पर्दाफाश किया है। इसमें एक हथियारों के तस्कर को गिरफ्तार किया गया है जो पाकिस्तानी हथियार सप्लायर से ड्रोन के द्वारा क्रॉस बॉर्डर गैर कानूनी हथियार अपने खेत में मंगवाता था। इसके अलावा दीपक नंदल गैंग के 3 ऑपरेटिव्स को भी गिरफ्तार किया गया है जिन्होंने इन वेपन्स को रिसीव करा था और एक घटना को अंजाम देने वाले थे। इसमें हमें 3 सोफिस्टिकेटेड वेपन्स बरामद हुए हैं जिसमें एक जिगाना पिस्टल, 2 PX3 पिस्टल्स, 2 मैगजीन्स और 19 लाइव कार्ट्रिजेस मिले हैं।
From Pakistan-based handlers to operatives inside India, from drone-dropped weapons to local terror modules. But this time, Indian agencies moved first. Real-time intelligence sharing, coordinated state police action, NIA investigations, multi-state raids. And a terror network that was allegedly preparing to create disruption around India's Independence Day has been dismantled before it could execute its plans. For Pakistan's terror establishment, the message is unmistakable. India is not waiting for the next attack, it is going after the network before the attack happens.
Days after the reported Pakistani military action in Surab, Baloch protesters have taken their anger to the heart of London, gathering outside 10 Downing Street and demanding an international investigation into the deaths reported in the Balochistan district. The protest, organized by the Baloch National Movement, puts the Surab episode back in the international spotlight and raises a larger question. Is Pakistan treating Balochistan's political crisis as a security problem that can be crushed by force?
The anger over Surab has now reached the doorstep of the British government. Outside the 10 Downing Street in London, Baloch protesters gathered with photographs, placards and candles demanding justice for those killed in the recent Pakistani airstrike in Surab, Balochistan. Their allegation is stark. Pakistani military aircraft bombed a populated area in Surab. The protesters say civilians, including women and children, were among the victims.
This is not the first time that Pakistani military is using aerial power against Baloch civilian population. Before this, Pakistani army used drone strikes in Surab, which also killed innocent women and children. Today, we came here to demand and urge United Kingdom to press Pakistan to allow international organizations in Balochistan to investigate the incident, also to ask Pakistan, United Kingdom's mission in Pakistan to allow them to visit Balochistan so they can interview, they can visit the area and they can have direct interaction with the locals. Our call is from United Nations, European Union to also highlight this issue.
The incident that brought the protesters to London happened on August 12. In the Gidar-Gundan area of Surab, reports emerged of Pakistani aircraft carrying out an aerial bombardment. Local reports put the death toll at more than 20, with some Baloch groups claiming around 30 civilians were killed, including women and children. Baloch activists have for years accused Pakistani authorities of using military operations, enforced disappearances, arrest and restrictions on protests to suppress political dissent in the province. The issue of enforced disappearances has also been raised by international rights bodies. The UN Working Group on Enforced Disappearances has repeatedly expressed concern over cases reported from Balochistan, while rights organizations have documented allegations of arbitrary detention and excessive use of force against Baloch activists. Balochistan's grievances are also linked to questions over political representation, provincial autonomy, and control over natural resources. The province is Pakistan's largest by area and has significant reserves of natural gas, copper, gold, and other minerals. Baloch political groups have long alleged that the province does not receive a proportionate share of the benefits from these resources, while development indicators remain among the weakest in Pakistan. The UN Development Programme has identified Balochistan as one of Pakistan's poorest regions, with high levels of multidimensional poverty and significant gaps in education, health, and basic services.
Balochistan's situation from the day one has been a political issue, and the resolution to this situation will always be a political one. But before any talk can take place, before any resolution can take place, the Pakistani state needs to withdraw from Balochistan its military power, because at the moment Pakistani state is trying to control Balochistan with military, with security personnel, with AK-47s, with gunship helicopters, with drone strikes. This is how they're trying to control Balochistan, which they have miserably failed. Unfortunately, the life which are being lost is mostly the Baloch people who are being targeted by the Pakistani state.
Pakistan, meanwhile, has continued to deploy security forces across Balochistan to counter armed separatist groups, including the Baloch Liberation Army and Baloch Liberation Front, which have carried out attacks on security forces, civilians, and infrastructure. The conflict has therefore developed on two parallel tracks: an armed insurgency on one side and a broader political movement demanding greater rights and accountability on the other. The Surab incident has now added a new international dimension to that conflict. At the London protest, the Baloch National Movement called on the UK government, United Nations, European Union, and international rights organizations to press Pakistan for access to the affected area and an independent investigation. For Baloch activists, the issue extends beyond one military operation. They want international scrutiny of what they describe as a continuing pattern of repression in Balochistan.
India has delivered a strong message at the United Nations Security Council. Membership of the powerful 15-nation body must never be used to legitimize terrorists or advance narrow political gains. Speaking at an open debate on the Council's working methods, India called for greater transparency and objectivity in the listing and delisting of terrorists. And while New Delhi did not name any country, the message comes against a backdrop of repeated concerns over Pakistan-based terrorists and China's past use of technical holds on terror designation proposals. We have a report.
For years, India has been pushing for a stronger and more credible global response to terrorism, including greater accountability in the UN's sanction mechanism. New Delhi has repeatedly raised concerns over political considerations influencing decisions on terror designations. Against that backdrop, India has now made its position clear at the United Nations Security Council. Membership of the powerful body must not be used to legitimize terrorists or advance narrow political interests. Speaking at an open debate on the Council's working methods, India's chargé d'affaires at the UN, Ambassador Yojana Patel, called for greater transparency and objectivity in the listing and delisting of terrorists and terror organizations.
Security Council membership brings significant responsibilities. This must not become a platform to pursue narrow political interests. Listing and delisting are a case in point. There must be more transparency and objectivity on this front. Presence in the Security Council must not be instrumentalized to legitimize terrorists by attempting to delist them or to list other entities as terrorist organizations based solely on political considerations without any objective criteria or supporting documentation.
India's objection stems from a long-standing concern over the UN sanction system. Under the 1267 regime, proposals to designate terrorists are examined by the Security Council's Sanctions Committee. But while approved listings are made public, reasons for rejected proposals or those placed under technical hold are often disclosed, a practice India has called a disguised veto. India has repeatedly faced such hurdles in seeking action against Pakistan-based terror operatives linked to groups including Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. China, a permanent UNSC member, has previously placed technical holds on Indian-backed proposals. In 2022, Beijing blocked an India-US bid to designate Jaish-e-Mohammed leader Abdul Rauf Asghar under the 1267 regime, despite support from the other council members. The issue goes beyond individual terror designations. Earlier this year, Pakistan and China jointly sought UN sanctions against Balochistan Liberation Army and the Majid Brigade. The proposal was blocked by the United States, France and the United Kingdom and remains stalled. The episode reinforces India's broader position that UN counter-terror mechanisms must be based on evidence, objective criteria and transparency, rather than political considerations. India also raised concern over the delay in appointing chairs and vice chairs of several Security Council subsidiary bodies, including those dealing with terrorism and sanctions. 8 months into 2026, the appointments remain unresolved. Denmark, which holds the Council presidency this month, has called the delay unprecedented and said it undermines the Council's effectiveness and credibility.
There must be greater transparency in several ongoing processes of the Security Council. For instance, elected members and by implication the General Assembly must have a greater say in crucial aspects such as the election of the UN Secretary General. Another important sphere is peacekeeping. TCCs and PCCs go far beyond the UNSC membership. Therefore, As direct stakeholders, they must be part of the UNSC decision-making architecture pertaining to all key questions of peacekeeping, such as mandates and resources.
For India, the larger objective is to make the UN's counter-terror system more credible with consistent and evidence-based action against terror.
UN membership has grown fourfold since then.
New Delhi is also calling for wider reform of the Security Council. Created in 1945, the Council operates in a world that has changed significantly, with UN membership having grown fourfold since then. India says its representation and working methods must reflect today's geopolitical realities. India's position is that Security Council membership carries responsibility and must not be used to shield terrorists or obstruct credible international action. New Delhi is seeking a counter-terror framework that remains transparent, objective and consistent, irrespective of political alignments.
And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.